Welcome to Chattanooga Bluebird Society Monitoring with NestWatch, which is an excerpt from our Spring 2025 kickoff meeting. In this video, we will review the NestWatch app on making entries while monitoring and also how to do edits on the app for our public trails. If you have a home Nest box, you are also able to keep track in NestWatch. However, you will need to create your own personal account for your home trail information, as our NestWatch sign-in is only for Chattanooga Bluebirds public trails. Thanks to all the hard work of our monitors, Chattanooga Bluebird Society recorded data on 325 nesting attempts, with 590 bluebirds, 126 tree swallows, 29 Carolina chickadees, 4 Carolina wrens, and 1 red-headed woodpecker successfully fledging in 2024. Our mission to educate, promote, monitor, and provide habitat for our bluebirds has now taken a step further to provide data not only for our own use, but also for scientific study through the NestWatch app. What we do is even more critical with climate change, habitat loss, and the introduction of non-native plants and animals. Based on the detailed data entered in NestWatch this past season, the trail coordinators and trail captains moved or removed some of the non-productive or problem nest boxes on our trails. Also, our first trails installed in 2021 with nest boxes originally made from donated materials were upgraded to our latest design, including a smooth top predator guard. These nest boxes are not only easier to open and monitor, it also allows our repair team to easily swap out parts as needed. If you find any damaged nest boxes while monitoring, please take a picture of the issue and send to your trail captain so they can initiate a repair order. We are going to review the NestWatch app. First up is signing in. Our username and password can be located on your trail information sheet. Please note the username is the same as last year. This is not case sensitive, but is one word. We do, however, have a password change from last year, and it is case sensitive. Before entering or editing information on the NestWatch app, if you are still signed in from monitoring the week before, go to the 3 bars in the upper right-hand corner for a drop-down menu. Scroll to the bottom and log out and sign back in each time you monitor that week for up-to-date information and to make sure you are using the most current version of the NestWatch app. We would prefer that you just log out after completing monitoring and entering your data each week, but if you forget, log out and back in again when starting to monitor the following week. Check to be sure there is no unsynced data. You should get a warning when signing out. Make sure to sync the data before signing out. Photos are oftentimes in unsynced data, as due to their size, they usually upload when on Wi-Fi. If you have unsynced data, there will be a button to click to sync the data. This may be caused by no cell tower in the vicinity, or you may have a slower data plan. Think Mint Mobile, which is often a 3G versus a 5G plan, so your app may not work in the field. NestWatch did an update on their app the end of August last year addressing this, so we may have fewer issues this year. Please also review alerts and reminders. Reminders are to make sure you are monitoring your nest box at least one time a week, or possibly 2 times a week during the busy nesting season, or more often if you have a predator problem. Alerts are when the data is not adding up. Too few or too many days for incubation, too few or too many days for fledging, or missing data like species not being entered. Here is a look at the unsynced data management page and the alerts and reminders page. Check to see if any of your trail nest boxes are listed. You will see a series of do's and don'ts related to the NestWatch Code of Conduct each time you sign in. Most of you are already familiar with these, but please review them. Also, be sure you are checking the nest boxes in the afternoon and not early morning when the birds may be laying eggs or feeding their young, or later evening when they may have roosted for the night. We scroll through and don't screens and click on I agree to follow the Code of Conduct. This Welcome to NestWatch screen has information on how NestWatch works and other information you may wish to explore at a later date. While monitoring, we will click on I'm ready to start. This brings us to the home page, and we click on My Nests. Click on Nearby to get your trail nest boxes. Make sure Location Services is turned on in your phone and you have given permission for NestWatch to use it in your settings for this to work. I monitor 4 trails, and once the bluebirds are active, this is a sequence I found works best for me while monitoring, as I enter all my data at the end. I find it also works best if your app does not work in the field. First, review any data in your app on the nest boxes from the week before, so you know if there's any activity and what you might expect to see. I'll show you those screens in a minute. Most monitors are scheduled for an entire month or more for continuity in data collection. When approaching the first nest box, stop and observe if there are any adult birds in the vicinity, as they ask for this information in the app if you have an active nest. If so, try to take a picture of them. Slowly approach the nest box from the side, not the front, as you can startle any birds from the nest box. And take a picture of the nest box number. Please note on the sign is also a QR code to our website. So if anyone asks you for membership information, or if we have a website, they can just take a picture of this QR code. Standing behind the nest box, tap softly on the nest box door and slowly open it. Look for a nest and also for anything that does not belong there, like ants or wasps. We will talk more about pests later. If you have a nest, take a picture of the nest from the side and the top view. Close the nest box and step away from it. If you wish to enter your data at this time, you may do so, but make sure you are away from the nest box. I personally finish the rest of my trail and enter the data at the end in the comfort of my car where I have heat or air conditioning depending on the weather. It's totally your choice. If there is no nest, We will not record any information for that nest box. Again, there is no reason to record empty data for an empty nest box. There is a nest. Select the nest box you are entering the data for and click on Start Attempt. Enter the date. Then input the species if known. When you start to type in a species, a drop-down box will appear with suggested names. These are the 3 species most likely to use our nest boxes. The bluebirds, which nest up to 3 times a year. Tree swallows, which nest twice a year. And the Carolina chickadees, which nest only 1 time a year. In Tennessee, you will not see black-capped chickadees unless your trail is at a higher elevation above 4,000 feet. So when making your entries, make sure Carolina chickadees is selected as a species. Normally breeding only 1 time in early spring, if you have a Carolina chickadee nest, we have smaller reducing washers for the entrance hole to protect them from larger birds, including bluebirds. You can swap the larger washer back on after they fledge. Contact your trail captain if you need one, as they will have a supply. Here are the nests for the top 3 secondary cavity nesters using our nest boxes. Bluebirds with dried grass, straw, and/or pine needles. Tree swallows with dried grass, straw, and feathers. Oftentimes, these 2 nests look alike at the beginning. It's when you see feathers, you know it's a tree swallow nest. Finally, the Carolina chickadee nest with the telltale moss and hair. You can always add the species on the next visit if unsure, or change the species on the next visit if incorrectly entered. As we continue to scroll, we will enter the number of eggs, live young, and dead young if present. Otherwise, enter 0 or click on the Nest is completely empty button and it will automatically enter all zeros for you. Do not click Submit until the very end. If you click Submit after each question, you will have multiple duplicate entries for that day. If this happens, your trail captain will have to correct this for you on the website, as we are unable to delete these in the app. Important dates are left blank if no eggs, babies, or fledglings. Otherwise, you must input these dates. If you do have eggs, babies, or fledglings, check if the date is estimated or observed, meaning that you are sure the date is accurate. Using the nesting information on the trail information sheet to make sure these dates make sense. 1 egg is laid each day. Incubation normally begins after the last egg is laid, although sometimes it is longer due to the weather. And they hatch 12 to 14 days after the start of incubation. Fledging occurs 16 to 19 days after hatching. Data for other species is included in your monitor bag. Next entry is nest status and all the options. Always read through your options and select the best match. No nest. We had this with our red-headed woodpecker. There was just a baby on the bottom of the box with no nesting materials. Incomplete nest, which is most common at the beginning. Completed nest, damaged nest, flattened nest with fecal matter. This is common when the birds have fledged. Bird nest built on top of an existing nest. An example, a bluebird builds over a chickadee nest, or if a bird has died in the box, you may see a nest built on top of them. Next question is adult status. So this is a picture you may have taken when approaching the nest box to see if there are adults around. If the mom is on the nest, just close up the box and mark remained on the nest. Next is young, if applicable. Note it does not ask for the age of the babies, but the description. Hatching young, naked with little feathers, partially feathered, and fully feathered. If I'm sure of the age, I add this to my notes at the end so we can be cautious when checking the nest from around day 13. By knocking gently on the door, they usually flatten in the nest to hide, but we do not want them fledging early. So I open it just a crack and take one quick picture and quickly close the door. Is management activity. If there was a house sparrow nest, we would remove it and mark under pest management. A house sparrow nest is very messy with lots of trash, usually a dome on top, and looks cave-like. If there was a house wren nest, i.e. lots of sticks but no spider webs, we are able to remove that too, as it is a dummy nest. However, if there are spider eggs and a nest cup, we must leave it, as house wrens are a protected species. When the spider eggs hatch, they eat the parasites in the nest. Here is a video of wrens in the nest. You can see the shadow of a spider near the entrance hole on the left side, and then several others falling on the babies on the right side. Nature working in tandem. House sparrows are the only active nest, eggs, and birds we can remove, as they are an invasive species. If your trail is plagued with house sparrows, you may have to check your nest boxes every few days to clean out the sparrow nest and install a sparrow spooker if you have bluebirds trying to nest. We will have sparrow spookers available. Just contact your trail captain. If you have problems on your home trail, be sure not to use seed containing cracked corn, millet, and hulled sunflower seeds, as this attracts house sparrows. Links to constructing your own sparrow spooker is on our website. Question on the app: if just starting an attempt, it asks for predator guard and select stove, pipe, baffle. You will add the photos you took of the nest, one from the side and one from the top, and then add your name under visit notes and any other comments if needed. Now you can click submit. Here is a final summary of this attempt. Note all the boxes are filled in. Do not click End Attempt. End Attempt is used when you have cleaned out a competitor nest, like a house sparrow, or all the bluebird babies have fledged and you are cleaning out the nests for the next round. So think cleaning out a nest equals End Attempt. Note, as we have now entered a new attempt, at the next monitoring session, you will add a visit. If you need to make a correction to your entries, maybe you entered 200 eggs instead of 2, click on the Edit button on the top right, which turns the data to yellow. Click on the line you wish to edit, and it will take you back into the questions to edit your answers, and then click Submit at the end. Click the Edit button again to turn it off, and your data returns to white. As you continue to monitor and add visits each week, if all the birds have fledged and you are cleaning out the nest box, or you are cleaning out a competitor nest, then you must end attempt. Before you end the attempt, if you had birds fledge, you must make sure the important dates of first egg, hatch date, and fledge date are filled in. And then you can end the attempt. You can click on the Edit button, go into the last visit, and update this data if needed. Again, cleaning out the nest box equals end attempt. When clicking on End Attempt, it will ask you questions needed to summarize the nesting attempt. First, answer the questions on the outcome of the attempt. Read through all the options to select the appropriate answer. These are self-explanatory. Most often it is at least one host young fledged. If it's a sparrow nest, you would choose invasive species management. Next, species should be shown as well as all the visits. I did not have images of an actual attempt, so data is not shown on these screenshots. Next is clutch size. How many eggs laid? How many unhatched eggs? How many live young? And how many fledglings? Make sure if it is 0, add a 0. Do not leave it blank. NestWatch never assumes 0, just you did not answer the question. Next is important dates, but these should already be filled in. You can make final edits here. Finally, make sure you add your name and any comments if needed. Then click Submit and end the attempt. Here is a completed attempt, and this nest box is ready to start a new attempt when a new nest is detected. This seems like a lengthy process, but there are really only about 10 sets of questions that normally take just a few minutes to complete. I want to talk a bit more about the pictures we are asking you to take this year and the importance of taking a picture of the nest from the side and top view and uploading them to NestWatch. This helps in several ways. If you do not have a good phone connection, you can enter the data and upload the photos once you get home on Wi-Fi. It helps the upcoming trail monitor if they have any questions. It helps the trail captain and NestWatch coordinators during auditing. It also assists scientists using the NestWatch data for research. Finally, if you are unsure of what you are seeing, text the pictures to your trail captain and team monitors for help. Most teams start a group text at the beginning of the season to make it easy to contact everyone. I find it easier to look at the pictures to complete the data. You see the nest at a different angle than when looking directly in the box. What you might see might be 2 eggs, but what you take a picture of might be 4. It is also easier to count beaks, wings, and tails from a picture than trying to peer into a dark nest box. especially tree swallow nests covered in feathers. If you have a tree swallow nest, gently open up the feathers and take a picture of the nest from above. Finally, a side picture can show if there was a dead bird with a new nest built on top. This was taken at a trail where we had a huge sparrow problem. We have removed some of the nest boxes near the picnic tables and relocated them to another trail. The ones that are left will be watched closely for sparrows, and we will try to deter them. If not, we will move or remove those nest boxes as well. You review the data on the nest boxes from the prior week before you start monitoring for the new week. There are 3 types of screens that you might see. This nest box has had no attempts as yet, and you are able to start an attempt if you find a nest. This nest box has a completed attempt, and you are able to start a new attempt if you find a nest. This nest box has an active attempt. Note you are only able to see the last attempt, if any, for a nest box. All previous attempts can only be seen on the website. Also note that only active attempts can be edited. If an attempt has already been completed, your trail captain will need to do the edits on the website, as they need to be reopened, edits completed, and the summary redone, and end the attempt. Currently, only the trail captains, trail coordinators, and NestWatch coordinators are authorized to make any corrections on the NestWatch website. We have asked your trail captains to also look at the entries each week for any anomalies, as they are easy to correct in the app, but are much more complicated if the error compounds over a few weeks or has to be corrected on the website. We are all learning as we go. So again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your trail captain. Monitoring, think like a scientist. Ask, what am I seeing? Put your observations in the notes along with your name. In this picture, a male bluebird was on the nest of eggs, which is unusual. Looking closely, it was discovered he was bitten by a tick, apparently seeking the safety of the nest box. Unfortunately, the mom could not incubate and turn her eggs, so the nest was lost. In this photo, a rat snake, harmless to us but not to eggs and babies, was found. We had a predator guard, so what happened? We observed foliage had grown up around it, so make sure to remove any overgrown foliage above or around the nest box hole, or it might also need to be moved to a more open area. Check with your trail captain before moving a nest box, as we also need to make adjustments in NestWatch as well. In this last photo, a house sparrow had attacked and killed a bluebird. Monitoring bags are available to our monitors on our public trails. Please note you must be a member of Chattanooga Bluebirds to volunteer and be a member. These kits contain the following items. Name tag. Please wear these while monitoring, as they identify you as an authorized monitor of the Chattanooga Bluebird Society. A scraper for cleaning out the nest box. Notebook. This contains your trail information sheet with all the contact information for your trail captain, trail monitors, trail coordinators, the credentials to sign into the NestWatch app, a current calendar, and incubation and fledging information. Also included in your notebook is a North American Bluebird Society Guide to Monitoring, a sample monitoring sheet if you choose to record information manually before inputting into NestWatch, and some lined notebook paper if needed. Diatomaceous earth food grade. Use this if you have an ant problem. Make sure all the foliage is removed from around the base of the nest pole so ants and other predators cannot bypass the predator guard. Wearing your mask and nitrile gloves provided in your bag, spray a few puffs around the base of the pole. If you have a nest with ants, gently lift the nest with your scraper and add a few puffs under the nest and then lower the nest. Never use diatomaceous earth in an empty nest box or spray on the nest or the birds, as it is an irritant made from fossilized aquatic organisms. A chopstick. Use this to knock out wasp nests. We are currently experimenting on a trail using clear shelf vinyl on the ceiling to see if that will deter them this year. Last year, we found using bar soap did not have any effect on keeping them from building wasp nests. Waste bags. Use when cleaning out old nests, as leaving old nests near the nest boxes will invite predators. Also, use them to pick up any trash on the trail. We aim to be good stewards of our environment. We have additional resources on our website on monitoring. As well as additional videos on our Chattanooga Bluebirds YouTube channel. While the website is restricted for editing purposes on our trails, if you have a home trail, you may wish to review the video on how to edit on the website on our YouTube channel, as well as these other short videos on monitoring and using NestWatch. Thank you for volunteering.